Hello, I'm Ian. You're watching Pixels at Dawn, and today we're looking at a series of ZX Spectrum games called the Boulder Dash series of games, or Boulder Dash, or however you want to pronounce it based on whereabouts in the country you're from. Don't hold that against me. I've always called it Boulder Dash because that's like the actual English phrase, but I recognise it's kind of spelt Boulder Dash, and that's the play on words, of course, isn't it? So, it's a series of games. We're going to go through it. It's a series of games that was originally on the C64, and I think, if I'm honest, it's probably the better edition, the C64 version, because it has slightly better graphics, slightly better sound. But I always played the Spectrum versions of the games when I was a young childling, and that's why we're going to have a go at these now. So let's dive straight into Boulder Dash 1. A nice rendition of the main theme there. It's probably not the best music ever, but it is 48K music, so kind of what you'd expect. So Boulder Dash is a game by Peter Liepa and Chris Gray. They made all the Boulder Dash games through to the very last one, number 4. This one came out in 1984, and there was one released every year up until 1988, which, I don't know, it seems quite impressive, but it's not as impressive to produce that back in the olden days. It wasn't that uncommon, because producing a game of this style just doesn't require as many resources as something like your Call of Duty Infinite Warfare or your Dishonored 2, so things like that, which require many more resources to create. So the idea of Boulder Dash is you are playing Rockford, this burrowing bug, the advertisements called him, but looks a little bit like an ET, if you ask me. He's got a little bit of character to him, it's quite nice. And you are burrowing through dirt in caverns to try and retrieve these jewels or gems or diamonds. I always call them diamonds, although I'm pretty sure the instructions call them jewels, I think. But I'll call them what I want to call them. So the idea is to go around picking up the jewels without getting crushed by the boulders. So there's some rudimentary physics going on. So you can hold a boulder on your head because game rules. But if you move, it will drop down. Any boulder which is sat on top of another boulder will be unstable. So if you sort of dislodge those, the boulder on top will also fall off. So you can get a whole cascade of things falling down the screen if you disturb the wrong rock at the wrong time. There's also enemies, which we won't see in this level, but we will see later on. My intention is to play a couple of levels from each game as we go through, and we'll talk through as we go. But got to be careful of that one there. Run. There we go. So once you've collected enough gems, you don't have to collect all of them. It will reveal the exit, which is hidden in one of these yellow blocks and won't be obvious until you've actually completed the objective. There is a timer, so we need to not hang about. And off we go to cavern or room B1, as you can see at the top there. You only get a limited number of lives, so you have to be quite careful. It is a challenge. Let's go and grab myself some more diamonds. I don't know why a bug is interested in diamonds. It's, it was the 80s. Who knows what's going on. So here's one of our first enemies. This is a firefly. It likes to sort of go around in sort of square formations if you let it out, so it'll quite happily go around this bit here. And sometimes you have to kind of taunt them out to go and do a bit of running away from you. It can get a bit challenging when there's a lot of those going around. Interesting little anecdote about Boulder Dash 1. When I was reading up about this in my the research that I normally do before I play a game on the channel, I was looking at one of the original adverts for Boulder Dash. Literally the first line on that page of advertising was citing its superb scrolling routine, which, I mean, can you imagine these days if they advertised a modern game like Dishonored or something based on something as simple as a scrolling mechanic? It's very weird. Oh, don't be there. It's a very weird way to advertise your game, but back in those days it was like, really sort of the premier nerds that were being marketed to. So that was a good thing, I guess, to put that on your advertisement. We can push boulders if there's just one on their own, which can help at times. Oh, I didn't want anyone to do that, but that'll do. Okay, so we've got all of the diamonds. Now we've somehow got to find the exit, and I have no idea where it is. It wasn't obvious. Sometimes there's a sort of sticky out block which would suggest where the exit's going to be, and not this time. So we're going to have to go through each of these little sort of antechambers to find it. It is quite good scrolling from a programming point of view. Not to besmirch the excellent programming that's being done here, but the interesting thing is because it doesn't scroll quite as quick as you have to be careful not to sort of go faster than the screen. Otherwise, you could end up being completely unable to see enemies heading straight towards you. Where the hell is the exit? There it is. I've got 30 seconds. I'm going to attempt to get this gem. Cool. I think that was everything. That's why we got the weird graphical effect there. Down we go, and away! Cool. Clearly, these levels get much more difficult as we go on. So that's Boulder Dash 1. Let's jump forward to Boulder Dash 2, shall we? Welcome to Boulder Dash 2. You'll notice the menu is identical to Boulder Dash 1, and I think they just built them all in the same engine or something, because many things are very similar between the games. Boulder Dash 2 has the subtitle of Rockford's Riot or Rockford's Revenge, depending on where you acquired it in the world. Let's stick that on. And we get some different music, which is nice. Slightly horrifying colour clash on Rockford there, but, you know, it'll do the job. Anyway, let's jump straight in, shall we? So, I'm probably going to encounter some of these levels which I just cannot do. Even the first one sometimes. Because I think sometimes you just have to have the experience to be able to pull it off. Just be careful that doesn't fall on my head. And okay, so we've got to get through past these. And that one. That one. So the mechanics and concepts of Boulder Dash are pretty much the same through all of the games. There's just some minor changes to the graphical style, and maybe a little bit to the enemies. But other than that, it's pretty much identical all the way through, and it's just more and more of the same kinds of puzzles. So people who enjoyed these kinds of puzzle games were just happy to get a new set of levels to play on. It's almost like expansion packs in a way. Yeah, die. There we go. So in that actual level, we had to blow up an amoeba just to get through this wall, which I think for a first level in the game is pretty harsh. It took me a while to figure it out. Oh, that fell into a magic wall. That's what this is. Okay. Oh. Well, an amoeba turned up. Actually, we call them amoebas. They're not. They're fireflies. Firefly turned up. Amoebas are entirely different enemies, which we will see later on, potentially. So, let's have another go at this level. Maybe I'll jump forward for you guys. You don't need to see me doing all this again. Come on, fireflies. Time for you to die. I'm going to have to be careful with those this time. Let's try and create a pattern for them to follow. Actually, the block now should be okay. Cool. No! Oh, boulder fell on my head. This is why I am bad at these games. I only have 1 life left, and we haven't even got off the first level yet. Oh dear. So each game has a number of caverns to get through, and what it calls intermissions, which we would know in modern times as bonus levels. So you can you have to solve the puzzle in the bonus level to complete it. And I think they're optional. I can't really, it's been a while since I've actually got that far into the game to actually see anything like that. Rubbish. And I died on the first level. I told you that might happen. Let's jump forward to Boulder Dash 3 and see if I do any better. Familiar menu screen of Boulder Dash. This time, Boulder Dash 3. More levels to play. And there's that familiar theme tune, if you remember it from the first game. Still by the same people. Good fun. So interestingly, the first level on this version of Boulder Dash is monochrome, and you got slightly different graphics altogether. It's very weird. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning was behind this, but now you almost look like a space Rockford or something. It's a little different. So we've got a number of gems to find here. I think there's 80 altogether. I think that's indicating at the top. And if you just drop a boulder on your head like an idiot, then that's what happens. So if you want to see people that are competent at the game, there's plenty of long plays to watch on YouTube. This is just meant to talk you through the series. I think that's the best I can do. What are we doing here? I don't think I actually ever played Boulder Dash 3 at the time. I definitely played 1, and I definitely played 4. The 2 in the middle, not so sure about. Let's see. And it is actually possible in the game, if you're not careful, to find yourself trapped or unable to reach the exit and things like that. And it does provide you with a key to press to sort of detonate Rockford and start again. And that can be a little heart-wrenching when you've been playing a level for a while, and then you just have to realise that it's not possible anymore. It's time to give up. Time to euthanize Rockford. Whoa! Sometimes you overshoot when you're not thinking. And we're down to 1 man again. So, I did play a lot of these games when I was younger. Probably just the same levels over and over again as I continuously failed. Right. I don't know where the exit is going to be on this level, but we shall see. There are actually different difficulty levels to go at, but and they just change the sort of score you get for picking things up and for destroying enemies and all that kind of stuff. There's not actually any change in the gameplay as such. This looks dangerous. Whenever I get into an area with lots of boulders, I start getting worried, because you run more chance of getting some horrible cascading rockfall. And then, in fact, some of the levels actually rely on that mechanic to sort of redistribute everything in the level right at the start. Because if there's items which are precariously placed at the very start of the level, they'll redistribute themselves as soon as the sort of timer starts going. How are we doing? Got 100 seconds to go. I think we got enough to finish. Oh, I didn't realise that if the diamonds fell on your head, that kills you as well. But it seems that is true. Well, I think we've got 1 life to go. And then we'll jump on to Boulder Dash 4. So, other enemies which you haven't seen yet, and we may never get to see because I'm so terrible at this. We've seen the fireflies, little sort of blocks moving around. There's also butterflies, which are sort of, I don't know, they're sort of bow tie shaped enemies. The difference with those is if you drop a rock on their heads, rather than just exploding, which is what fireflies do, they turn into diamonds. So it's a nice way of getting more diamonds out of the level, other than the ones that are just placed. Let's be careful with this. I'm not quite sure what the sort of funny background indicates. Whether it's saying, because I think it sort of makes a sort of plip effect, flashes the screen when you've got enough gems to get out. Let's be careful not to get squashed this time. So in this case, let's start from the top and work our way down. Take no chances. I have had occasions in this where I just let a boulder fall down to the bottom and then go down to find that I've blocked my escape and can't get out anymore. Which, as you might expect, not what you want to do. Yeah, I was going to say that boulder shouldn't fall down. And as he says that, he blocks his escape. No. And so Rockford stayed in the room until he died of starvation later in the game. Well, that's Boulder Dash 2. Let's jump forward to the final game in the series, Boulder Dash 4. Ah, a different menu system. Ah, finally, a different menu system. So Boulder Dash 4, also known as Boulder Dash Construction Kit, gives you a little bit of a clue there as to what we're talking about. The last game in the series, also the only one to have a separate 48K and 128K version, which means we finally get some decent music. So let's jump in, and you can bask in the glory of the nice new music. So here we go. Pick a Spectrum with 128K, and the nice thing with this version of the game is it has its own level editor. One of the few games on the Spectrum I can actually think of with a level editor. There was the was it Pro Golf Simulator by Codemasters had a sort of course creator. I can't bring any others to mind. I'm sure there are other ones with their level editors. It wasn't a new concept, and we'll load that up in a bit to have a look at it. But for now, let's play. That's more like it. Nice bit of stereo effect as well. And this is much more like the music was on C64, so happy to hear it. And we get a nice little bit of music in the game. I find this particular level very difficult. We'll see how it goes. Right, Rockford. Let's try not to die. I have a patented way of doing this level. I don't think it's the best way of doing it. I've watched other methods of doing this level, and I've never managed to get them to work in the way that other people have. I obviously don't understand the AI of the fireflies in quite the same way. Let's release this now. Get out of its way. Right, I'll go off on a big loop round. We can grab this. Okay, now I just have to watch that a firefly doesn't turn up coming the other direction, suddenly. Can I just go down here, or is he coming in here? He's coming in here, I'm dead. And there's the other one, saying hello. It's a very difficult level for a first level in the game, I think anyway. Some of the experts may disagree, but sod them, frankly, because for mere mortals such as myself, this is quite difficult. Right. Let's open this up. And then let's let out the firefly. Off you go. I'll take this, thank you. Now I've got to keep a constant eye out to see whether fireflies are coming back, which isn't my preference, but it'll do. Timing is essential here. Oh, there's the guy coming back. Let's just go around this way. Oh, are you stuck in a loop there now? Now you're stuck in a loop. Well, sod you. He's gonna keep going round. Run away. Right, okay. I see what's happening now. Gonna have to be careful now. Is he gonna come down here if I do this? No, he's gonna go up there. Good. And then let him out. Go and get my thing, and then do a runner. I've no idea where that other firefly's gone now. That's the only problem. Oh, he's gone on the main route there. Oh no! What the? Wait, what? Oh, he must have run into the other firefly and come back. Ah! This is a complicated level. I hope you'll forgive me for my clear ineptitude of this game. It is a fun game, but God's sake, it is hard. I don't think I did much better when I played it as a child, to be honest. Run away. Well, I released the gem, didn't I? So wow, what a fantastic playthrough of the whole series you've had there. Sort of half a level from each one. Oh well, what can you do? Maybe you want to tell me about your memories of Boulder Dash. You can absolutely do that, and maybe tell me what I'm doing wrong, because God knows, I don't know. Other enemies we haven't actually seen, I'll put some pictures on the screen. The amoeba, sort of like weird blob things, grow through dirt, but when you confine them, so block them in, they don't actually hurt you. When you block them, they turn into diamonds, which is nice. A nice little mechanic there. And then you have slimes, which also look like amoeba, but they let rocks and diamonds pass through them, so it's a different effect. So I said I'd show you the construction kit, and I am as good as my word. And this is the construction kit. So you can see on the right here, you have all of your different items. You've got boulders. You can pop those in where you like. You have your gems. So you can pop those in as well. And you can fiddle around with dirt. You've got walls. It's just standard walls. And you've got these, which I believe are magic walls, which do funny things when you drop gems onto them, I think. I think they sort of duplicate the gems. You've got the standard exterior walls. You've got this, which I actually don't know what it is. You've got this, which is, I think, Rockford's start position. Although you do in the game get extra Rockfords, especially in the fourth game, I think. I'm not sure it was in the previous ones. You have to be really careful. You have to protect the extra Rockfords, because if they get killed, that kills you as well. You know, it's kind of like your escort quest. Your companion has died, so you fail. Then we've got the enemies. We've got a nice firefly there. Here's the butterflies. You can have a few of those. Then you've got your amoeba, which grows through the dirt. I can stick that down there. And you've got the alternative version, which is the slime. Oh no, so that green one up there must be an extra Rockford, because I thought that was the start, but this is the start here. So we can put ourselves here to start. I realise this isn't the master of level design, but not to worry. You've got an out, exit to go at here, and then you've got randomize and erase, I'm guessing. I'm guessing you can do things like colour things in and set your timers and all that kind of stuff using these things at the bottom. So you can choose your different colours for your level. Oh, I see, so you can completely recolour it if you want. There you go. So you can recolor everything. Quite a lot of different options, really, for a what is a very early sort of level editor. What's M do? Let's load save. Can I run this? Oh no, it just starts us off at level 1. So we can incorporate it into a sequence of levels, which is an interesting way of doing it. So you can effectively create a campaign in inverted commas, which is fairly unique for this time of for this age of game. But there you go. So that's all of the Boulder Dash games on the spectrum, 1 to 4. 4 being the one with the construction kit attached to it. They're pretty good. They are challenging, as I'm demonstrating by being terrible at them, but also a lot of fun. And puzzle gamers will absolutely reflect on how good they are. As I say, there's been some more recent versions, so you may even want to pick up a modern version of Boulder Dash, or some. I'm sure there's clones of it these days, because it is a classic. So there you go, Boulder Dash, everyone. 1 to 4 on the spectrum. Let me know what you think of it. If you enjoyed this, we're really doing more retro stuff. We're doing quite a lot of that at the moment, because I'm struggling to decide what to actually play next on the channel. I will get there in the end. But so you will definitely be more of that. Sub and like and subscribe and sub and subscribe. Okay, yeah, whatever. Thanks for watching. I've been in. You've been watching Pixels at Dawn. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.